Hello, welcome to this lecture. So in this lecture, we are going to design RCC wall footing. And in this lecture, we will first get introduced with the wall footing briefly. About the wall footing, I have already discussed in the previous two lectures, but here we will get introduced briefly. And after that, we will solve an example. So that is the content we are going to discuss in this lecture. Now, talking about the wall footing, in this all the design principles that we apply for the beam, we have applied that in the isolated footing. The same principles can be applied in the wall footing also, because wall footing is like a slab and designing of slab is like a beam. So therefore, all the design principles applied here also. And basically wall which is resting on the footing, when we have a very large wall, and because of this large wall, we have a very large rigidity. And because of this large rigidity, the footing basically deflect in the form of cantilever. I will show you that in this diagram also. So you can see here, because of the wall, because of the long wall, footing generally deflect like the cantilever, which means this position is remaining at its original position, but this part and this part, they are deflected like a cantilever beam. And therefore, we have discussed in the last lecture also that uh, the critical section for the bending moment in that case is uh, passing along the face of the column, or if we are designing wall foundation, then in that case critical section will pass through the face of the wall, which means the face of the wall will be this one. So the critical section will be this one and also this one. So section passing along the wall in case of RCC wall, so it will be passing through the face of the wall. And in case if we are designing foundation for the masonry wall, that is also being discussed. In that case, if this is a center line of the wall, then critical section found between the center line and the outer face of the wall, which means critical section for bending moment for masonry wall foundation will be in between the center line of the wall and the edge of the wall. But here we are designing foundation for the RCC wall. So here critical section will be at the face. Now, generally wall supports the UDL. Generally, along the length of the wall, it supports UDL, and therefore generally we design wall foundation for 1 meter length only, which means we design foundation for unit length. So that can be seen here also. So as we can assume that this is the UDL, and for this UDL, we design the foundation for a unit length. And in the plan also, you can see this will be the unit length. And the second dimension which we have to find out is the width of foundation. So this width is very important for us. And also you can notice that while calculating the size of the footing, in this one side of the footing will be already known, which will be the unit length, say 1 meter. We only are required to find out the other dimension, which is the width of the wall foundation. So now beside this, the one-way shear criteria will be same. The critical section for one-way shear will be at the same, which will be at d distance from the face of the wall, like we have done in isolated footing. And critical section for bending moment will pass through the face of the wall. And in this wall footing, because wall is running throughout the length, and because of the high rigidity of the wall, two-way shear never arises. That is also discussed in the previous lecture. So therefore, we don't apply two-way shear criteria in the case of wall design. And that is what I have written here. The presence of the wall prevents the two-way shear, which means in the wall foundation, punching shear will never occur. So wall foundation can fail either in the bending or can fail either in the one-way shear. There will not be the punching in the wall. And so now we will take an example to solve. All the design process that we have followed in the previous lecture will be same here also. So this is our problem. In this, we have to design RCC footing for a 200 thick concrete wall, which is carrying a load of 100 kilonewton per meter, which means it is a UDL. The safe bearing capacity of the soil is 80 kilonewton per meter square, and the grade of concrete we are using is M20, and the grade of steel is Fe415 steel. So in this, we have to design the RCC wall foundation, and all the data required for the design is given in the question. So in case if we are not given any data which is required for the design, generally we assume that data. So in the solution, our first step is to find out the material and design constant, which is M and JR, and they are dependent on the permissible stresses. So sigma CBC will be 7 Newton per mm square for M20 grade of concrete, and sigma ST for Fe415 steel will be 230 Newton per mm square. And we can find out M value, then N value, and then we calculate the J value and the R value. So that is our first step in which we find this design constant. Now, moving to the next step. In the next step, we are supposed to find out the size of footing. Now, in the size of footing, one side is already known, which means the length of footing is 1 meter, because we are designing wall footing for unit length. So one side is already known. The second side, which is the B or the width. So here we are supposed to find out width of footing. Now, we know what is the load coming on the footing. So load per meter length of footing is given in the question, which is 100 kilonewton. And we will also assume that this load which is coming from the wall, it is inclusive of the self weight of the wall, because the sufficient data is not given to calculate the self weight of wall. And also it is not mentioned that wall load to be calculated separately. So therefore we are assuming that the load coming from the wall is inclusive of self weight of the wall. Now, also along with this load on the soil, another load which will be resting is the self weight of the footing. So right now we don't know the size of footing. So therefore here we assume that the weight of the footing will be around 10% of the load coming from the wall. So the 10% of W will be 10, and therefore the total load which will be coming on the foundation is 110 kilonewton per meter length. So now the required area can be calculated. So for a unit length of footing, say this is our wall and this is in continuation. So this is the unit length and this is our width. So we are supposed to find out this B value. So the area of this footing can be calculated as total load divided by safe bearing capacity. And in this, the total load is 110 and safe bearing capacity is already given, which is 80 kilonewton per meter square. So putting all the value, we get the area of footing as 1.38 meters square. Now, we know that area of footing here can be L into B. And here L is already known, which is 1 meter. And the value of B is to be calculated. So area is 1.38 meters square and L is already known. The only thing which is to be find out is B. So therefore B will be 1.38 meter. So 1.38 meter is the value of width of footing. So now we are now going to find out, we are going to move on to the next step, and here we will find out the net upward pressure P. So net upward pressure is W by area, and area is B into L. So putting the value here, we get the net upward pressure as 71.40 kilonewton. And as you can see, this net upward pressure is less than safe bearing capacity of soil. So we can say that the size of footing, specifically the width, is sufficient. Now moving to the next step, here we are supposed to find out the effective depth of footing from the bending moment considerations. And once we find out that depth, we will check that for one-way shear also. So here to find out the depth, first we need to find out the maximum bending moment coming in the uh, footing. And we know that critical section for maximum bending moment will be at the face, sorry, at the face of the wall. It will be at the face of wall. So here in this diagram also you can see uh, this is the critical section of the column, critical section of the bending moment passing through the face of the wall. And here again this section divides the footing in two parts. One is the LHS part and the second one as the RHS part. So in the RHS we have the wall and we have the footing part also. So therefore in the RHS we have two loads, in the LHS we have only one load. So therefore we will consider the LHS part. So I have already explained this in the previous lecture also using the diagram. So the formula for bending moment will be same as I have formulated in the previous lecture. So here we will put all the values. L here will be 1 meter, B will be 1.38, and small b will be the thickness of wall. And thickness of wall is already provided to us, which is 200 mm or 0.2 meter. And P value is already known, which is 71.40 kilonewton per meter square. So putting all the values here, we get the maximum bending moment as 12.85 kilonewton meter. Now for this bending moment, we will now find out the depth required. And depth required can be calculated by using this relation, which is under root m by rb. M is the maximum bending moment, r is the design constant, and b is the. Now here we have to understand that this b will be actually the unit length, because we are supposed to find out depth for unit length. So therefore here b will be actually equivalent to l, and l is 1 meter or 1000 mm. So please remember this, that here b will be used as unit length. So here b is 1000 mm. So putting all the values, we get the D required as 104.36 mm. So we will round off this value to the higher side to be on the safer side. So choosing the value of D as 110 mm. So this is the depth required for bending moment considerations. Now we will check whether this depth is sufficient for one-way shear or not. So for this, we will now move to the next step, which is checking the depth for one-way shear criteria. Now, for this D to be safe in one-way shear criteria, we use the limiting condition, which is the value of tau v should be less than the product of k into tau c. Now, tau v is the action, or in other words, we say this as nominal shear stress or stress caused due to the external shear force. Similarly, k into tau c is permissible shear strength of concrete. So here we are supposed to find out tau v and k into tau c, and then we will compare them. And if the condition is satisfied, then we say that D is safe. If condition is not satisfied, then D is not safe, and therefore we have to revise the D. So this is what we have done in the previous step, previous lecture also. The same process we are going to follow here also. Now to find out the value of tau v, we know that tau v is V upon B into D. So here we have to find out V value. V is the maximum shear force. So first we have to understand where will we find maximum shear force. So now we know that critical section for shear force is located at a distance D from the face of the wall. Sorry, here it should be wall. From the face of the wall. So for to understand this, we have the diagram. So here, this is our wall and this is our footing, and the section for shear force will be at a distance D. So here again, this section divides the footing in two parts. One is the LHS part and the second one is the RHS part. Now in RHS part, we have the two component load coming from the wall, load applied, the pressure applied on the footing. So there are two loads. But if we consider LHS side, here we have only one load in the form of net upward pressure. So therefore, again, here we consider the LHS part, and again, the formulation is same as we have done in the previous lecture. So the same formulation here. So L value is 1 meter, B value is the width of beam, B is the thickness of wall, and D is the depth of footing as we have calculated in the previous step. So here having we can calculate the value of V as 34.99. So tau V is V upon BD, and here again you have to consider that this B is basically L, which is 1 meter. Why? Because we are designing this footing for unit length. So here again we are supposed to find out the shear stress caused by the force per unit length. So therefore here the B value will be L. So please don't confuse this. I have just written this original formula, but here we have to understand what is B. B is basically the unit length, because we are trying to find out the shear stress for unit length. We are designing this foundation for unit length. So putting the value of B as 1000 mm and D as 110, and this is the shear force. So solving this, we get the tau V value as 0.31 Newton per mm square. So that is the nominal shear stress. So now we will now find out the product K into tau C. Now in this K into tau C, first we will try to find out K, and this K value actually depends on the overall depth of the footing. So therefore, first we need to assume the clear cover, and we need to assume the dia of reinforcement so that we can work out the overall depth of the footing, because in the step 4 we have calculated the effective depth. So here we have to find out overall depth. So we have assumed that the reinforcement will be laid in two layers, obviously. I mean, reinforcement along the width will be like this, and along the length we will see these dots. Now along this width we will be having main reinforcement, and these dots which will be along the length of the wall, it will actually be distribution reinforcement. So sorry, this is not in two layer. Let the reinforcement be provided. Sorry, this sentence is wrong. Here we will say let the main reinforcement be provided along the width of footing, and dia of that main reinforcement will be 12 mm. Okay, so here along the width we have the main reinforcement, and along the length of wall we will be having distribution reinforcement. So distribution reinforcement dia can be 8 mm or 10 mm, that we will see when we will be calculating this area of steel. And also the clear cover. So as we know that in foundation minimum clear cover is 50 mm, so we are providing the minimum clear cover. So now we can work out the depth. So depth will be 110 plus the bottom bar will be of 12 mm, which is the main reinforcement, and the clear cover, which is 50. So the total depth will be here 166, and for the sake of convenience we are rounding off this value to 175 mm. So here uh, for this overall depth we can refer to this clause of the IS code, and in this clause you will see a table with which we can find out the K value, which is dependent on the overall depth. So for 175 mm depth we have K value as 1.25. Now we have found the value of K. Now we will find the value of tau C. And now we know that this tau C value is dependent on the percentage of steel. So we can find out the percentage of steel of balanced section using the relation, this one. So here we will put the values and we will be able to find out the percentage of steel as 0.88. And here again, for the sake of convenience, we are rounding off this value to 1%. Now for 1%, we can refer to table 23 of IS code, and in table 23 value of tau C for 1% steel for M20 grade of concrete will be 0.39, 0.39 Newton per mm square. So now we have found the value of K and tau C. So now the product of K into tau C becomes 0.49 Newton per mm square. Now we will compare this K into tau C with tau V. So we know that tau V value was around 0.31 and K into tau C value is 0.49. So therefore K into tau C is greater than tau V, which means the condition is satisfied, and therefore we can say that the depth which we have calculated in the previous step, which is for the bending moment consideration, will be sufficient for one-way shear criteria also. So it means this depth can resist one-way shear effect and it can resist bending moment effect also. So the depth is sufficient. So now we can move to the next step, in which we are now going to calculate the area of reinforcement. So as I said that in the wall footing, the reinforcement provided along the width will be the main reinforcement or the bottom reinforcement, and above this reinforcement, these are the distribution reinforcement. So first we will find out the main reinforcement using the relation of AST. So AST is m upon sigma st j into d. So putting all the values in the relation, we can find out the value of AST. So we know m is the maximum bending moment, which is 12.85 into 10 raised to power 6, because we have to find out AST in mm square. So we have to convert all the values in Newton and mm. So here, solving this equation, we get the AST value as 561.64 mm square. And basically this area of steel is to be divided into number of bars or in the spacing. So here we are supposed to find out spacing, because the length of wall can be it can be any value. So right now we are designing for unit length, so therefore we will find out the spacing of main reinforcement along the uh, width. Actually this is the width along width of the footing. So the formula is area of cross section of 1 bar into 1000, because we are supposed to calculate for 1000 mm uh, unit length, and in the denominator we have AST value, which we have just calculated. So putting all the values here, we know that the main bar reinforcement dia we have assumed earlier is 12 mm. So area of cross section of 12 mm bar into 1000 upon 561. So the spacing of the bar is 201.19 mm. So now we have to check this spacing for the IS code recommendation, because you can see that the footing of the wall is like a slab. So like we follow the spacing recommendations for slab, we are going to follow the same spacing recommendation for the footing also. So as per recommendation, the spacing of the main reinforcement should be the least of calculated value. Calculated value is 201.919, and second is the 3 times of the effective thickness, which is 3 times of D, which is 330 mm. Similarly, the third value is 300 mm. So in this, the least value is 201.19, and therefore we can say that provide the main reinforcement along the width as 12 mm dia at the rate of 200 center to center. So this is the calculated value, and generally we round off to the lower side so that the area of steel required will be less than the provided. So this is how we provide the reinforcement for main reinforcement. Now till now we have say this is our footing. So till now we have provided reinforcement, this one, which is along the width of the footing, and this is our main reinforcement. Now we are going to find out reinforcement along the length of the wall. So this reinforcement along the length of the wall is actually the distribution reinforcement. So reinforcement along the length of the wall is provided as temperature or distribution reinforcement. And for distribution reinforcement, we can refer to this clause. And we know that for Fe415 steel, the area of distribution steel will be 0.12% of the total cross-sectional area. So area of distribution steel is 0.12 into BD by 100. And putting all the values in this relation, we can find out the area of distribution steel, which is 210 mm square. So here we can use the dia of distribution bar as 8 mm. So spacing for 8 mm dia of bar will be, we will use the same formula for here also. So area of cross section of 8 mm dia bar into 1000 into 210. So the spacing of distribution reinforcement is 239.23, and this spacing should also be checked for IS code recommendations. And as per IS code recommendation, the spacing of distribution reinforcement should be the least of calculated value 5 times the effective thickness provided, which is 5 times of D provided, and D provided is 110. So this becomes 550, and the third value is 450. So in this, the least value is this one. So we are going to adopt spacing of distribution bar as 239.23 mm. So here, by rounding of this value, we can say providing the distribution reinforcement as 8 mm dia at the rate of 235 center to center. So now we have calculated the area of reinforcement. Now our next step is to draw the reinforcement sketch. So reinforcement sketch for the wall footing is this one. So we have calculated the reinforcement. So this orange bar is basically the main reinforcement, which I have written here. And this green bar is showing the distribution or distributor reinforcement. And the total depth of the foundation is 175, thickness of wall is 200 mm, and the width of wall is 1380 mm. And so this is the detail that we have provided in this sketch. So that concludes this problem. Thank you.